Have you ever played an online match and felt stuck? Your players are not playing well, you are not creating any chances, and your opponent tactics is far better than yours. Your opponent is completely outplaying you, whether by sitting deep and hitting you on counterattacks or by dominating the possession. Either way, your tactics are failing miserably. The only way to make a comeback in the match is by changing your play style. Unfortunately, you don't have a manager that has proficiency of two play styles. Konami released one of the most requested managers in eFootball, a manager that has 88 proficiency in both quick counter and long ball counter. In this video, I am going to show you if Gasperini is worth it, which most effective formation and tactics to use with him, and his gameplay in division matches. Also, very importantly, I am going to show you how and when you need to switch the play style during a match to get the best results. Now, Gasperini only cost 500 coins, which on paper looks like a bargain, but we will find out whether he is really worth it after testing him out. He has 88 proficiency in both long ball counter and quick counter. He is only the second manager who is capable of playing both playstyles. It is now almost 1 year since the Southgate manager pack was released, so this manager has been long awaited by many eFootball players. Gasperini's booster is +1 to physical contact, which is obviously not as good as double boosters or a speed or acceleration boost, but I would still argue that a boost to the physical contact is also good, since physical contact is important in the game's current meta. This is the formation I use with the Champs, a 4-1-1-4, a very attacking formation. However, because I play with long ball counter, I am not left exposed a lot at the back. Since I now have Gasperini, who plays both quick counter and long ball counter, I'll create a sub-tactic, a new formation that I will fall back on if the game is not going well for me. The thing with quick counter is you need your players to be a bit closer to the ball. Therefore, as a second tactic, I'll switch my players' positioning. Use a 3-man midfield to have better ball circulation, which will help me in building up. Now, before we test out Gasperini in division match, how and when should you switch from quick counter to long ball counter or vice versa? Now, quick counter is a proactive playstyle. What do I mean by this? In quick counter, you take the game to your opponent. Defensively, you press the opponent and force mistakes from the opponent. The defensive line is very high, which acts as a way to suffocate the opponent. Long ball counter, on the other hand, is entirely different. While quick counter is proactive, long ball counter is reactive. Rather than forcing the opponent into mistakes, you wait for the opponent to make the mistake and you pounce on it. The defensive line is very low, and when attacking, the forward players push up very high. The question remains, when should you change playstyles? Well, the sole purpose of having a manager like Gasperini is to use both playstyles to your advantage in a single game. Depending on the opponent, I might start the game with quick counter, dominate my opponent very early in the game, get a goal, and with a goal lead, it is natural that the opponent will seek an equalizer. Now, in this type of game state, instead of me to keep using quick counter, which will leave me exposed at the back, I will switch to long ball counter, defend deep, wait for my opponent to make a mistake, and this is where long ball counter comes in handy, and a manager like Gasperini will be very useful. That's enough of me yapping. Let's get into the real business. Testing out Gasperini in division match. Now, I come up against an opponent who uses quick counter, which means he will leave a lot of space in behind, and a weakness in his defense I spotted is Theo Hernandez. Honestly, I don't know, man. Using an attacking fullback in a system that uses a very high line can be very suicidal. Now, since he's using this formation, I will start the first half with quick counter to see if I can get an early goal, then later in the match use long ball counter to defend and attack the spaces in his defense. Right from the get-go, you can see how quick counter is. A very high line, and you can already see how my players are positioned. Every one of them is rushing to press the player that has the ball. Again, here my opponent has the ball in a dangerous position, but my defensive line is still high. The goal here is to win the ball high up the pitch. However, this leaves a lot of space in behind, which is a disadvantage. I win the ball and you can see how the players behave. They try to come close to the ball in order to give you passing options. Just look at Griezmann, who is a whole player, gesturing for the ball instead of making a run forward, which he would normally make a long ball counter. Now, I missed the chance, but I want you to focus on this passage of play. We all know speed is important for defenders, but trust me, high speed is a priority for defenders if you are using quick counter because of these types of situations. Look at this huge space my opponent would have easily scored if it weren't for my defender's high speed that helped me cover the ground. I win the ball back and set out to attack here. His keeper made a good save and I got a corner kick. But if you watch this back again, you can see how Gasperini's quick counter is. It is like a give and go type of attack. Not every player is running forward. You pass, then the player attacks the space. It is a combination of intricate play aimed to exploit space in the opponent's defense. Like I said already, the main disadvantage of quick counter is the high line, which my opponent tries to exploit here, so take note. You have to be very careful. I finally got my chance, and through some nice link-up play, I was able to find the space and score the goal with Messi. However, if we run it back again, you'll see why I earlier said that quick counter is a combination of intricate play aimed at exploiting space. If you look at this very closely, the players are attacking but not at the same time. The goal is to find the space in the opponent's defense. Just look at Griezmann. As soon as I pass to Messi, he stops running forward and drops into this pocket of space, which sets a trap for my opponent. Should he press Griezmann, which will leave a lot of space for Messi, or should he follow Messi, which will leave a lot of space for Griezmann? He decides to press Griezmann. I see Messi, and boom, I score the goal. It is at this point I decide to switch playstyles. With a goal to chase at 60 minutes, the opponent will naturally start to attack more and more, which means a lot of space in behind, which also meant time for long ball counter. Immediately, you can see the contrast of both playstyles. Look at the space in behind, and each player is running separately to attack the space. Whereas in quick counter, they would come closer to the ball, providing options for the player with the ball. I called quick counter a combination of intricate plays. Long ball counter is the entire opposite. In long ball counter, sometimes all you need is just 3 passes from defense to attack and you will score a goal. This goal alone explains how long ball counter works. And just like that, the game ends. I close out a victory by using long ball counter in the second half to stop my opponent from attacking. In the first half, I was dominating the opponent and playing on the front foot. In the second half, I sat back and hit my opponent on the counter. And this was all possible because of Gasperini. Is he worth it? The answer is, without any doubt, yes. At just 500 coins, you have the chance of using 2 of the most effective playstyles in eFootball. This is a manager you should go and sign as soon as possible. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, comment whether you like Gasperini or not, subscribe, and most importantly, I've got a video that will answer your questions about lagging in eFootball. Peace.